Have you painted a piece and are looking to add a little bit of metallic to it, whether it's accenting the hardware, or maybe you want to paint a whole piece in some type of metallic? But there's a lot of products out there. There's so many waxes to paints, to sprays, to paint it on. So what do you choose? How do you choose? Well, today I'm going to walk through 6 of my top reasons to try and use our Heavy Metals Gilding paints. They're amazing. I promise you'll enjoy them. If that's something you're looking forward to, stay tuned today on Wise Owl Paint Party. All right, so my number one reason you should try and use our Heavy Metals Gilding paint is its paint. So what exactly do I mean by that? Well, even just 2 days ago, I saw a post about using a gilding wax on a finish and the trials and tribulations that come with adding a wax. So most circumstances, a wax is going to be your last step, your last thing you're going to do. So you're basically going to be hoping, ultimately, at the end of the day, that once you add this wax, it's everything you dreamed it was going to be, and there's nothing else you're going to need to do to it after it's done, because you know that that's going to be the final step. So, and that's the way I'd always known it. I've not really used metallic paint until we came out with our Heavy Metals Gilding paints, and I'd only use gilding waxes. But it's creatively, it holds you back. Because again, it can't be a part of a finish. It has to be the ending of a finish, right? So that's what's cool about having a gilding paint. So now the specifics of what I mean by that is just that, it's a paint. So I can paint it on as the first coat and paint layers over top of it. I can, add stuff to it. I can decide to top coat it and then glaze it. I can wax over, I can do all kinds of stuff in and around and with it as a paint. So creatively, I'm not held back by thinking, okay, if I'm going to use it as an accenting paint at the end just to do detailed areas, well, now I can't do anything else to it because I have to stop there as I would maybe with a gilding wax. Because sometimes if you're going to add another wax over a wax, it's going to muddy the water a little bit, right? So that's my number one reason. For me, it was just one of those things where when I saw what I was able to do with it as a paint rather than a wax, the realm of possibilities opened wide, like wide. So as you can see in this little sample board back behind me is a great example. So as a paint, I was able to incorporate the metallic paint within the finish. So I painted the actual blue painted finish. Then I added the gilding paint over top of that, and then was able still to do a top coat and a wax over top of that because it was a part of the finish and not the end all be all stopping point of the finish that I had. So for me, that was my number one reason, is it is a paint, a legit paint and not a wax. And I can incorporate it into all my finishes. And my number two reason you should try and use our Heavy Metals Gilding paint is it's self-leveling. So, as I mentioned in my number one reason, it's a paint. So most of our Wise Owl paints are extremely self-leveling, and our Heavy Metals Gilding paint is just exactly like that. And I've actually done a whole finish with a piece, and I'll put it up here for you guys to see. It was this little table I painted, and it's actually my hammered metallic finish. And boy, I had the darndest time trying to keep that hammered look to it because it just self-levels so amazingly well. So it's one of those things where not only are you getting a metallic in a paint form, but you're also getting a metallic in a paint form that self-levels. So if you're wanting to paint it on as a complete finish, you know you're going to get those same properties that you'll get with our CSP or OHE or even our top coats for that matter. So that's another big point for me. especially with paints, you want it to be self-leveling. You want to be the one that controls whether there's still brush strokes left in it, or in this case, I have, the stippled hammered effect, which, took some technique to get it there because it wanted to really flatten out, but in the end, it turned out beautiful. And as you can see, you can use this metallic paint for an overall finish, and you can decide if you want to add some texture or if you want to just let it do its thing and self-level. And my number 3 reason is it has a super tough finish and it has a built-in top coat. So what does that mean? In most situations, if you're just using our Heavy Metals Gilding paint on a surface, you do not need a top coat. Now, if it's for a high traffic area, we definitely highly recommend using our OHE clear coat or our varnish. But for most situations, and pretty much all the situations I've used it in, I have not needed a top coat. Now, the table I showed earlier, I actually did a glaze and a varnish over top of the glaze. So it did have some layering, and it was a coffee table, end table thing. So I definitely needed to give it a little bit more durability. But if you're using it for accenting areas or throughout the piece, or even on hardware, which is one of my primary uses for this, just as you can see back behind here, you would just need to paint it on and you're done. And if you want to, you can wax over top of it. You can do all kinds of other stuff to add to it if you want to, but ultimately at the end of the day, it has a built-in top coat and it's very tough, and you're not going to need to do anything else. And my number 4 reason you should try and use our Heavy Metals Gilding paint is it blends and mixes beautifully. Now, I just recently have had this piece I've painted in blue, and I wanted a brassy gold color. And if you haven't already checked them out, we have 6 colors. And of course, it's not a lot, right? But within those metallic colors, we have the base of the metallics that you'd be looking for. And then what's amazing is that you can go ahead and mix them. So just like you mix our CSP or our other colors or other paints, you can do the same with our Heavy Metals Gilding paint. And I'm here to tell you, it blends beautifully, it mixes beautifully. And I actually have a little sample board here that you can kind of see where I've taken our bronze and our gold dust and mixed it together to give this really beautiful golden, brassy, aged color. It's really, really beautiful. And that's what's cool. When you have a metallic paint and not a wax or a spray or something that blends and mixes, you can play and you can do some other cool things with it. So yeah, there's only 6 colors, but what can you do with those 6 colors? What can you create with those 6 colors? And that's kind of the thing. You have the base for your metallic colors you want, and then from there, create, right? So this is actually the color. You can see it. I took this color and painted it on the knob. Really beautiful. This is kind of the blue that is on the piece. So I wanted to be able to play with it. But also, if you're using it on the piece, so let's say I wanted to blend these colors together, while that was still wet, I could have done that and blended these 3 together and maybe had a streak across a piece of furniture, who knows, right? But it's just another one of those things, right? It's where I said at the beginning where your creativity is held back from using certain products. And if you use our Heavy Metals Gilding paint, you're not, because it just opens up the possibilities to be completely endless. And the mixing of colors to make something new, or the blending of colors together, is just another one of those things. And our number 5 reason is its coverage. Now, as a paint, and a metallic paint at that, you'd have to wonder, okay, Mark, well, how many coats am I gonna have to paint of gold dust to have it cover a dark color or a light color, or just cover in general, right? So that's where you have to start looking at the types of paints that are out there, right? So you have opaque, translucent, or transparent, right? So opaque would be where you paint it on and it's completely covered. You're not gonna see anything. There's not gonna be a metallic paint you're gonna find that. And definitely not with one coat, that is, right? So you're looking at something that's not transparent, where it's completely see-through, which is a lot of the metallic paints that are out there, and something more in between translucent, which is gonna show a little bit through, and opaque. And I'd say that's where our Heavy Metals Gilding paint falls, is somewhere between the opaque and translucent categories of paints. And the reason why I say that is because after you paint 2 coats on, it's going to be closer to opaque than translucent, right? And even with 1 coat, it's more translucent than transparent, which meaning they're still going to have some see-through, but it's not completely see-through, right? And that's pretty unique with metallic paints because, again, it's metallic. It's hard to get it on where you're just painting 1 coat and you're done. So you already know going in, you're probably going to do 1 to 3 coats, depending on what you're doing. And with some that I've seen, I've not actually used, but I've seen and heard from other folks, is it could take 4, 5, 6 layers of metallic paints because it is very transparent. So what does that mean for you? So like, as I did with this hardware here, this was only 2 coats and it went from translucent with the first coat to opaque with the second coat. So it's completely blocking whatever was behind there after the second coat. And that's something that's just absolutely amazing coverage for a metallic paint. And our number 6 reason why Wise Owl to try and use our heavy metals gilding paint is its low VOC. So as it is with most of our products, it's either low or no VOC in the case of our chalk synthesis paint. Our heavy metals gilding paint falls right in line with the rest of our mission, is to be greener, safer, healthier, environmentally friendly with the products that we produce for you, for the people you paint for, and especially if you're a professional, it's definitely something you want to be looking forward to, and why you're looking for a premium paint line. Because with that premium paint, you're going to get some of the things you're not going to get with your bargain brands or something that you create yourself. It's not going to be as safe, either, again, for you to use or for you to sell after you've painted the piece. So, and our heavy metals gilding paints falls in line with just that overall, you know, what we do here at Wise Owl, and it's a low VOC paint. So that is our number 6 reason. And if you didn't notice, we have 6 colors, and that is why I did 6 reasons for today. There's a lot of other reasons. It's just amazing paint. I definitely recommend giving it a try. All right, and there you have it, our Why Wise Owl for today, and our top 6 reasons to go ahead and try and use our heavy metals gilding paint. From just the simple fact that it's a paint, which allows you to do so many things, all the way down to the fact that it's another one of those low VOC products that we're offering up to all of our customers. So if this is something you enjoyed, I hope you're enjoying these Why Wise Owl videos. If you are, please hit the like and please subscribe and share. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that create, share, inspire mantra that I've taken on and I've added to this Wise Owl paint party is something that is super important to me in the way I can get that inspiration out to folks who maybe want to try a metallic paint, is for folks like you who are watching this to share. So if you know someone who's looking for some information about a metallic to add to their painted finishes, please, please, please share. And if you're looking for our heavy metals gilding paints, in the description down below, I'll put a link so you can find the Wise Owl retailer nearest you. Please shop small, support your local business, and hit up your Wise Owl retailer nearest you if you're looking for any of these products I talked about today. And as always, happy painting.